Namaste and welcome to today's session. How's everybody? Uh, so let's start today's session with some sitting practice, and then we will talk about something which I have no clue what I'll be talking about. Once the sitting practice is done, perhaps something will emerge. Mm. So I suggest become comfortable um, wherever you are. Um, ensure there's no disturbance for the next maybe 15 odd minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and um, ensure that uh, whatever position you take is a position where you can maintain your stillness. So the idea is not so much that you have to be absolutely still. So supposing if you feel like just moving your body a little bit, that's perfectly fine. If you feel like doing this, that's perfectly fine. But as far as possible, it is good to avoid movement. Um, and the reason being, the more we kind of uh, move our body, and the more we move, if your eyes are open, and the more we move our eyeballs, the greater the possibility for the mind being active, the greater the possibility for distraction, and the greater the possibility that one is likely not to be in a witness mode, but likely to be in a unconscious thinking mode. Okay, now I very consciously use the word unconscious thinking because thinking itself is not a problem. It's like a function of our existence. We are breathing. That's one function of our existence. We are experiencing the body, the sensations. We move the body. That's another functions. We have feelings. That's another function of our existence. And the other function of our existence is thinking. Now, thinking itself is not bad if um, if it is used functionally. But the problem with our thinking is that it is not functional. More often than not, it is dysfunctional. And what do I mean by that? Functional is something that you use for a particular purpose, and when you don't need it, you don't use it. Now, if I were to ask you to raise your right hand, and you can raise your right hand, and if I ask you to bring your right hand down, you can bring your right hand down. So, and then you can use your right hand for various purposes. You can use your hands for making a cup of tea. You can use your hands to hammer a nail in the wall. You could do various things with it. So this is the functional use of your hands. Now, supposing this hand uh, stopped listening to you, and suddenly, without your permission, this hand started punching your face. And not only did it start punching your face, it you had no control to stop it either. Then it is dysfunctional. So till the time a instrument, a tool, a faculty is in your control, it is used purposefully, then it's called functional. When some faculty is no longer in your control, it is not used purposefully, then it's called dysfunctional. So similarly, going by that, uh, we have our thoughts. Now the thoughts have a functional usage and a dysfunctional usage. Now, what do I mean by that? So when we use our thoughts, um, like say for planning, for organizing, for doing something or the other, um, it's a functional use of thought. Like if I need to uh, book a ticket to go from, let's say, Dharamshala to Bombay, I need to use my thoughts. I need to see what other options available. I need to see which time suits me. I need to see what cost is, I'm using all my thoughts essentially for functional purposes, right? Now, that's a functional use of thought. The thought becomes dysfunctional when I can't seem to have any say on it. Now, what do I mean by that? Simply, like if I were to ask you to stop thinking, mhm, and uh, would anybody of you be able to do that? That's the question. Like you may probably stop thinking for 10 seconds, perhaps, maybe for a minute, maybe, but this chatter is like just going on all the time. It's not in our volition, it's not in our control, which itself is, it's like you're using some faculty without any volition. Like supposing if you have an electronic gadget, you use it, like let's say uh, the fan or a microwave or the lights, and when you don't need to use it, you switch it off. Similarly, the mind and the thoughts is also energy. In a way, it's subtle energy. When you don't need to use it, then you can switch it off, right? So it's not necessary that it has to be used all the time, but this, we do not have the ability to switch it off. There is no switch off button for the mind. It's like a radio which is has only one channel, and the name of that channel is non-stop thinking, going on all the time. They say we have 80,000 thoughts a day, and most of these thoughts are unproductive and sometimes not even good for us. So one is we don't have control over our thinking process. Hence, I say it is unconscious. So something that's called thinking, which you use for functional purposes, and there is thinking which is unconsciously happening without a volition, without any use, without any function. And thoughts become really can become really destructive, can become really dysfunctional when these thoughts make us believe something about ourselves. Now, what do I mean by that? If a thought makes me believe, oh, I'm a good for nothing. If a thought makes me believe I have messed up my life, if a thought makes me believe I am not liked by anybody, if a thought makes me believe that I am unworthy, or a thought makes me believe compared to others, I am doing nothing with my. We all know these kind of thoughts. All these thoughts then create feelings of anxiety. These thoughts create feelings of fear. These thoughts, if these thoughts make you believe, if make a person believe that there's absolutely no more hope for the future, your life is totally finished. There is a person can even kill himself. That's the destructive power of a thought. People do not commit suicide necessarily because of their life situation, no matter what the difficulty in the life situation is. The difficulty in the life situation could be a heartbreak, or divorce, or bankruptcy, um, financial constraint, or health problem, or death of a loved one. Whatever, these are some very difficult situations, life situations. But the problem is not really the life situation. The problem is the interpretation of the mind about the life situation. Because the mind is saying, look, this has happened. Now there is no hope for you. Now life is has no meaning, has no purpose. And then people, because you believe that thought, people get into a depression. Because you believe a thought, people may even end their life, because people cannot live in a particular life situation. The life situation people can live with. It's the interpretation of the life situation that people cannot live with. It's what the mind is telling us about the life situation. This story that the mind, or the story that the thoughts are creating about the life situation that people can't live with. And then that results in going to counselors and therapists and all of that. So thoughts, like I was saying, in themselves are not bad if used functionally, if seen for what they are, as logical, rational tools. Uh, but when these thoughts are happening without our permission all the time, it's a waste of energy, one. And second, when these thoughts are become self-judgmental, not only self-judgmental, these thoughts could also be judgmental of others, because then that also creates a story. How could this person do to me? This person is like this person is like that. I'm not loved enough. I'm doing so much for this person. That's also a story created by the thought. Then it creates so much of angst, so much of pain, so much of resentment, so much of grief. Whereas actually, perhaps, and then the thoughts, not only that, the other aspect of thoughts is that if there is one consistent story, that would be great. That this is what the problem is, and then you could probably even move towards a solution. But the thoughts are not just one. It's like one part of the thoughts, and the mind is saying something, creating one story. Oh, this person is so bad, and this. And other part of the mind is saying, no, no, not so bad. Oh, but this person loves me, and this. So there are so many multiple stories. There's no coherence. There is no integrity in the stories of the mind. This one part is saying this, another part is saying this, another part is saying this, another part is saying this. There's no coherence. There's no reliability. There is no integrity, so to speak. I know of someone who's pretty much like this, and you don't know what this person. There's so many impulsive stories going on about herself and others, that there is no coherence about what this person is about. So this is the problem with unconscious thinking. So when we get into witnessing our thoughts, the this and when I use the word thoughts, mind, ego, identity, I'm using all these different words, but I really mean the same thing, because our identity and our ego emerges only when unconscious thoughts start coming. And embedded in every thought, embedded in every voice in our head, is me, the character of my story. And that is how it is. If there is no reflect on this, I should probably not say think about this, reflect on this, that this notion that I as a separate person exist, that uh, I as a separate person with a story exist, that I as a separate person with a name, with a person with at a certain time that I was born, and this person that I believe, essentially this person is nothing but this body. I think that I am this body with the mind, and that's who I believe I am. That I was born on a certain date, a certain time. This is what happened to me. If I ask you to tell a story, then you will start, okay, this was when I was born, and these are my parents, and this is what happened to me in my childhood, and then this. And so the story has a past, and then there could be a possible future about the story. And every story has a character. And these thoughts make us believe that I am a character in this story. And this character emerges only when the thought emerges. Hmm. When the thought is not there, then there is no character. And a very simple example that I can give you of that is when we go to sleep for 6 hours or 8 hours, whenever we are in deep sleep. I'm not talking about dream right now. Whenever we are in deep sleep, there is no character, no story, nothing. Because this chattering mind has shut down. There is, we may not be aware of it, but there is consciousness. This mind may not be working in that sense. So we may feel, oh, there is no existence at that time, but something is still existing. Similarly, in the dream, the mind, the subconscious mind projects some dream character, and in the dream, then I start believing that I am this dream character, and whatever is happening to the dream character is happening to me, and then I start living the life of a dream character. And then when I wake up, then the mind starts the chatter with the waking dream, so to speak, and what I consider as the waking reality. And then this new character comes. So there is no consistency in my idea of who I am. In the waking, I believe I am a certain person with a history and a past, and this is what who I am, and these are my likes, dislikes. I am this person, whatever. In the dream, a new character gets created every night. Something new is happening in that dream world, and in the sleep, this character is no longer there. Neither the waking character, neither the dream character, is just blank. So then my question is, which is the real you? Is it the waking character is the real you, or is it the dream character that you create at night, that the mind creates, is the real you? Or is this uh, totally the state where there is no thoughts and when there's no mind, which we call sleep? Is that the real you? And I'm reminded of a story. I often say this story, and I may not be very perfect in my narration of this story, but nevertheless, I'm just going ahead. There was a king in olden times. His name was Raja Janak, and he was Sita's father. And uh, there was a fight between his kingdom and the other kingdom, and he lost the war, and he was running away from. There were people who were trying to capture him, the kings and the soldier of the other kingdom, and he was running away from them, and he ran into the jungle, and people are still pursuing him, and then he's trying to hide in the jungle, and he's not eaten anything for days altogether, and then he has his clothes are totally tattered, he's in a really bad condition, extremely hungry, and he doesn't know what to do. And then for some moment, he just takes rest under a tree. And when he's taking rest under a tree, he finds nearby a piece of roti. A roti is like a small, um, mm, a roti is a roti, okay? So, a wheat preparation for those of us who may not know Hindi. Then he's trying to eat that roti, and as soon as he's about to put that morsel in his mouth, a crow comes and takes that roti in its beak and just runs away and flies away. And then suddenly he shouts out loud because he was so hungry, and then that small morsel that he had is gone. And then as he shouts out loud, he suddenly realizes that he is in his palatial bedroom, and he was just dreaming this whole thing. And then he is, because the dream seemed so real and so compelling, he said, like, oh my God, it's like when you see something in 3D, it's almost like it feels very real. So he then, it ignites a quest in him. And the quest in him is, to realize what is reality. Because that dream was so real of this me who's lost his kingdom and who's running in the jungle and who's totally hungry and famished, has nothing to eat. And this me who's lying in this palatial bed with all the luxuries around me, nothing to worry about, also seems very real. So then what was real? Is that real, the dream, or this what I am experiencing now, is this the dream, which is the real one between the two? So then he calls all his um, the wise people in his kingdom, people who are the religious people, whatever you may call, and each one comes with their different backgrounds and the scriptures of different religions, and each one tries to convey to him what the scriptures are saying, and but nothing seems to resonate, and there's nothing that really touches his heart. And suddenly then after some time walks in a young man who has whose body is disjointed in 8 places, and he's having difficulty in walking, and then he just walks into the kingdom, and then there are all these other people who are the ministers and the other wise men who are there, and they start laughing uh, at this man, that this man who's disjointed, who can hardly walk properly, he's come and he's going to reveal what is truth and what is reality. And so when they are laughing, then this man starts laughing at them, and they are surprised that why is this young man who can hardly walk, who's disjointed in 8 places, is laughing at us. He's saying, I'm laughing at you because you're laughing at me, thinking that I am this body made up of this flesh, blood, bones, this skin bag which has these flesh, blood, and bones. And you are thinking this is who I am, and so you're laughing at me, and hence I'm laughing at your ignorance. And then this person tells the king, his name is Ashtavakra, and the reason he's called Ashtavakra is because Ashta means 8, Vakra means disjointed, uh, and he's disjointed in 8 places in his body, and hence the name Ashtavakra. And he tells the king, neither is the dream real, neither is what you're experiencing right now real. Reality is something beyond both these states. Mm. And then whatever, then he gives the discourse, and there's an interaction between Raja Janak and Ashtavakra, and that whole discourse is called Ashtavakra Gita. And the difference between the Bhagavad Gita is given during in the midst of war, whereas Ashtavakra Gita is given during peace times. And then gradually Raja Janak realizes what is true. So let's forget about what is true. Let's say that's beyond description, beyond an experience of any kind. But let's look at between what we experience. I think a good thing to realize is, first, before we move towards what is truth, what is untrue. Then we can then we can move closer to the truth, because once we see what is untrue, then automatically in that seeing, the false begins to drop away. So what is untrue is what I just shared with you. This notion that I have of myself, which is not consistent. In the waking state, this notion of myself, a particular me with a story, born at a certain time, whatever it is, this is who I am, this is what happened to me, good things, bad things, this is who I'm married, this is my children, blah, 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 my story. In the dream state, a new story gets created every night. Something interesting, whatever. In the sleep, no story, no character, nothing. Neither of these have a consistency. All of these are nothing but created by our mind. In the waking state, the mind creates one story. In the dream state, the mind creates another story. In the sleep state, there is no mind. There is no thoughts, nothing, no story. So what is real is definitely not what the mind is telling us, because what is real has to be consistent. It cannot keep changing every now and then. What to some for something to be really, really real and true, it has to be consistent. It has to be always there. But the mind is very, waking state, it creates a story. Dream state, it creates another story. In the sleep, it creates another. It creates no story. So, what is consistent in all these three states? You can take a moment to think about what is consistent in all these three states, whether it's the waking state, whether it's the dream state, or whether it is sleep. So, what is consistent in all these three states is that there is something. There is no name to this something that is existing, that is conscious. Uh, in the waking state, something is existing. In the dream state, something is existing. In the sleep, something is existing. There may not be awareness of that existence, but there is existence. So what is a common factor across the waking state, the dream state, and the sleep state is that there is existence. Another word that I can use for existence is that there is life. Simple word. That because there is life, there is a waking state. Because there is life, there is a dream state. Because there is life, there is a sleep is happening. And now, whose life is this? Now, we often use this in our conversation. Oh, my life is so tragic. Oh, I need to do something about my life. Oh, I need to take charge of my life. I need to. Is this your life? Is the question I want to ask. Is this like you the person, do you what you believe? Is this your life? Is it something that you have created, and hence you can say this is my life? Or there is just life? If you don't use any words, if you don't use any thoughts, if you don't create any stories, there is something, whatever this thing is, it's breathing, it's conscious, there's awareness, there's existence. I don't know who this is. If I start saying, "Oh, this is my life. This is Ajay's life," no, this is just life. Now I don't know. I don't need to give it any name. Whether I say it's my life or not, life is going on. The breath is going on. The heart is beating. The blood is circulating. The sensations are happening. The perceptions are happening. So it's not something I am doing. Life is just there. And this thing, this life is constant in the waking state. This life is constant in the dream state. This life is constant in the sleep. There is no consistency between these three states of the minds: the waking state, the dream state, and the sleep state. So if we want to come back to what is real, we we may not know what is real or what is the truth, but we at least know what the mind is creating is not real. It is sort of playing games, it's playing tricks. In the waking state, it's making me believe I am so and so. In my dream state, it is making me believe I am so and so. In the sleep, something else happens where I don't feel that there is any existence. Then what is real? So what is real, like I said, is that there is something that is existing. And like I was saying, that there is never a time we have never experienced being alive. In fact, birth and death are concepts. Now, why do I say birth and death are concepts? Because nobody experiences their own birth. Nobody experiences their own death. We have only seen others being born. We have only seen others dying. So we can't say that I have experienced my birth or I have experienced my death. Nobody can say that. The only thing that we have ever experienced is life, 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 life. Our life situations will change. The nature of our thoughts and our mind will change. Our beliefs and ideas about ourselves will change. The body made up of matter will undergo a change with, physical changes. One thing that has never changed in anyone's life is the fact that there is life, that there is existence. So if you want to come closer to reality, at least let's take a step away from unreality, which is the mind, which is creating fiction, which is creating stories, which is totally unreliable apparatus. Like I said in the beginning, it is good for functional purposes. It's good if you use your thoughts, but this mind is creating stories and notions and ideas about myself and all those kind of things. So if you want to come to reality, then come closer to life, come closer to existence as often as you can, and stop residing in your mind created stories, which is what most people are doing 99% of the time. In fact, I'm reminded of this article that I wrote called "Hello, I am the Ego." I'll be probably posting it one of these weekends. So it's just, I think, a 4-minute, 5-minute read. I'm going to read that article so that you understand how this mind functions, how the thoughts function, how the ego functions, or how the identity functions. So I'm just going to read that now. So here we go. And the title of this article is called "Hello, I'm the Ego." So it goes like this: Hello, I'm the ego, the voice in your head that keeps talking all the time. The dishes need to be cleaned. When will I ever learn? What does he think of himself? I'm better off being on my own. I need to heal myself. I'm working on myself. Yes, all these voices are me. Not just them. Every single voice in your head is my voice. I make you believe that you are a person, a character in the story of your life. That you were born on a certain date, have a name, a body, and a mind. I make you believe you, the person, is real. Actually, I'm just a voice in your head. Like an operating system, I run different programs. Most of these programs I picked up when you were a child. These were things elders told you to do. I added, I must in front of all these instructions. I must work hard. I must do the right thing. I must be loving and kind. I must be strong. I must not waste time. I must be successful. Sometimes they didn't say it. I just interpreted that if I behave according to these programs, I will get what I want, which is mostly the love and respect of others. I made you believe that these beliefs will help you become the person you want to be. Oh, yes, that is the other thing I do. I make you believe that you are not good enough, that you must do something to become a better version of yourself. I keep you in a perpetual state of doing, moving from one task to another, making you believe that life will be better if this gets done or that happens. I also make you believe that if something didn't happen, your life will be worthless and futile. I have convinced some people to even end their life, making them believe that there is no hope in the future. I am the one that gives life meaning, a reason to live, something to look forward to. I am a great storyteller. I love to tell stories, tragic stories, heroic stories, emotional stories, compelling stories, you name it. Every story that you have heard is created by me. I live on concepts, or one should say, concepts live through me. I take different forms: ideas, beliefs, opinions, suggestions, principles, morals, theories, dictums, ideologies. They are all me. I need an abstract form to exist. I create these forms for my survival. In case you are thinking I am a bad person, it is not you that is thinking that. I am thinking that in you. You see, I do all the thinking, making you believe that you are doing it. I have created thoughts, word, and language, or thoughts, words, and language have created me. It is difficult to say which has caused what, but I love to find what makes things happen, what results in what. This is one of my favorite pastimes: cause and effect. I love to label everything, divide everything into small pieces, then analyze how these pieces affect each other. I take great pride in the scientific theories and inventions I have created through this process. I'm not heartless, I like ethics, except I have a logical way to go about it. I like to debate what is right and wrong before forming a conclusion. I do not understand contradictions and paradoxes. My favorite colors are black and white. I'm hardworking, I put in effort, I live by the rules, look forward to results. I cannot understand people who do not live like this. In case they don't, I make them feel guilty about it. I celebrate achievements. I set goals and prepare myself to achieve these goals. Yes, that is another thing about me. I am always prepared and rehearsed. Sometimes I like to confuse people by hiding in their impulsive behavior and calling it spontaneity. I make you believe that you are making a choice, that you are taking actions based on your choice, that you are living a life, that you are in control. If someone questions this belief, I argue vehemently because my very existence is based on the notion of me being a person who has free will. I'm even willing to kill and be killed if someone questions what I believe or has beliefs contrary to mine. I have caused all wars and conflicts. I make you believe that the enemy is out there, and if you get rid of him, there will be a better future. I'm invincible, almost. The only thing that I cannot stand is to be watched, observed. You see, I survive through thoughts. If you start watching me, then I cannot exist. All thoughts vanish when I'm watched. There is silence. But I'm not really worried about this happening because I know you are scared of emptiness. You need to know how to live, what to do. I provide you the program for that. So I'm safe because you fear emptiness. What is emptiness? I don't know. When it comes, I disappear. When I disappear, you feel low and depressed because you do not know how to exist without me, without hope, without meaning, without a sense of purpose. But I have heard some people have withstood the fear of emptiness and crossed over to the other side. They have seen me. I can no longer hide in their thoughts. They try to expose my identity to others, but they are a small minority, so they do not affect my existence. Since I am an operating system, I am passed on from one generation to another. Each generation upgrades me by adding their own programs, but the core program remains the same. I am a separate person. I live life according to my beliefs and I control life. That's me, the ego. Who are you? So that's the article I have written, but I think the intent of writing that article is to make us understand how this mind, this identity, this ego, this character in the story, these thoughts behave. These are all the things that the ego does and makes us believe. So if we really want to come closer to reality, then we have to be in touch with existence. And if you want to be in touch with existence, then you have to come out of the story of this mind, the character that this mind is creating, the story, and which is where we are living 99.9% of the time, all the time. The story is going on, the chatter is going on, the thoughts are going on, something, oh, this is what I need to do, this, da, 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 all the time. That you need to come back and just witness what's happening. Witness life. Witness existence, because existence is more real. And I'm not saying what is the ultimate reality, let's forget about that, but definitely compared to the reality that the mind is creating, the existence sorry, is more reliable. The mind is not so reliable in terms of who we are, our identities and all of that, but the existence is all reliable, because never in our life we have ever experienced not existing. All through our life, we have experienced only existence, only life. So let's observe life and let's observe existence. And maybe through observing what seems to be more tangible, what is more real, we will come to closer to what reality and what the truth is. So the practice is then be in the company of what seems more real compared to the unreality of the mind. And what's more real? Existence, life. And even the thoughts that are happening is also a part of existence. So watch these thoughts. Don't get lost in these thoughts and the ideas and the notions and the stories of these thoughts. Just watch them. So that is a way that we can free ourselves or perhaps come closer to what seems more real. Otherwise, we are only living a life believing that I am a character in the story which is created by the mind. And that character has no reality other than the belief that I have that I am this character. So I intended to start with a sitting practice, but this sort of just came about. So nevertheless, we can end with the sitting practice. And the whole of sitting practice is to come out of this character, this notion that we have of ourselves and come into reality, or come closer to real. If I may probably uh, mm, have a title for this session, probably it could be what is real, because that is what we are coming closer to. So when we are doing a sitting practice, we are observing what is real rather than getting lost in the unreal. And what is real? is what's happening right now. That seems real. The breath seems more real. The existence seems more real, the sensations. And so we're just observing the relatively real. Perhaps when we keep observing the relatively real, which is nothing the feeling of being conscious, being alive, being the feeling of I am, that there is existence, perhaps we will, through that process of constantly observing the relatively real, we will come to the ultimate reality, which perhaps can never be spoken of. It's like I often give this example. You at best, what you can do is create conditions for sleep. When the sleep has to come, it's a matter of grace. You cannot use your willpower to go to sleep. So similarly, at best, what one can do is observe the relatively real, which is existence, which is consciousness, which is life. Perhaps then we will shake hands with the ultimate reality someday. Mm. So let's do that. Let's observe. Let's move away from the fiction and the stories and the characters of our mind to reality of existence. So sit comfortably wherever you are. Take a nice, long, deep breath in and exhale. You can close your eyes. Like I said, if the body is still and if the eyes are closed, then there is somewhat a relatively better chance of not getting lost in the unconscious stories of the mind. Observe what's happening right now. The breath, the sensations, the sounds, the feeling of being alive, existence. If there are any thoughts, then observe the thoughts as a part of existence. You're not a person with a story born at a so and so time, with a past, with a future. That is only what is created by the mind, thoughts, and the ego. You're not a voice in the head. There is really no you. All there is this living presence right now. All there is life right now. All there is existence right now. So just be. Life, existence, presence. And you don't need to do anything to be because you already are. There's never a time that there is not life. There's never a time that there is not existence. There's never a time when there is not consciousness. There's never a time when there is not presence. So you don't need to do anything. Just stop trying to do anything. Just be. Even the observation and the witnessing of existence is also happening by itself. No effort is needed in that. Silent, present, aware, conscious, empty, existing, being, present. Different words pointing to the same thing. Existence is happening by itself. The witnessing of existence is also happening by itself. Existence has no goal, no purpose, no agenda. It simply is. There is no what next in existence. It's simply here. It's simply now. Nothing can be said about existence. Nothing can be said about a life. It simply is. Whatever is said is just interpretations of the mind. Even after we come out of the sitting practice, always remember this existence is always there. This life is always there. Do not forget this existence because of which everything happens. The mind is an unreliable friend. Existence is trustworthy. Keep in touch with existence. Observe existence as often as you can. To come closer towards reality. When we are living in unreality, then we are caught with the vagaries of the mind, desires, fears, memories, imaginations. When we are closer to reality, we are more on stable ground. The purpose of this wisdom is to move us from unreal to real. Take a deep breath in and go. Another deep breath in and let go. Slowly and gently, as and when you feel like it, you can gently rub your palms and cup your eyes. So, so that is the purpose of sitting practice, to come back to what is relatively real. In fact, you can divide reality in three parts, if I may. I'm just making it up. One is absolutely unreal, which is what the mind is doing. Absolutely unreal. Unreal in the sense the stories that the mind is creating, the identity the mind is creating of ourselves is absolutely unreal. Then in the middle is relatively real, which is existence, which is the experience of life, which is consciousness. This is not unreal, but this has a relative reality. And this is always, if we reside in the relative reality, perhaps we may come to what is absolutely real. So, at best, one can do is reside in what is relatively real, which is existence, life, consciousness. So, that's what this whole practice is about. Coming into awareness, coming into presence, coming into being, coming into consciousness, coming into existence, coming into life. Different words pointing to the same thing. Choiceless awareness. I am conscious of consciousness, aware of life, watching existence. Different ways of saying be as you are, of saying the same thing. Okay, so let's end today's session with, feel like ending with this Sanskrit shloka, because I think it's very much in line with what we discussed today, which is what is real, coming closer towards reality from the unreality of the mind. So you can close your eyes if you wish, join your palms and namaste. So first let me end with a small spontaneous prayer, and then I'll chant this shloka. My dear higher self, help me to realize the fiction and the stories that the mind creates, the character that the mind creates, making me believe that I am a character created by the mind. Help me to reside into reality of existence, the reality of life, the reality of being conscious as often as I can. And I seek your grace to realize the absolutely real. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamaya Nityo Ma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dear Lord, move me from untruth to truth, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. Peace, peace, peace. Okay, you can drop your palms and cup your eyes. Okay, so with that, we end today's session. Another spontaneous session. I hope it was interesting, relevant, useful. To share your feedback in the comments, and keep practicing residing in the relative reality of existence, life, and because that's that's more real than what the mind is creating. So goodbye. God bless. Take care.